Good evening. I'd like to call the village board meeting for the Village of Kerry for December 6, 2022 to order with roll call, please.
Weinhammer,
Here.
Walrath,
Here.
Cavelli,
Here.
Collier,
Here.
McAlpine,
Here.
Dudek,
Here.
And I will entertain a motion to allow Trustee Walrath to attend via Zoom.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Welcome, Rick. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now moving to the open forum where the public is invited to make an issue-oriented comment on any matter of public concern not otherwise on the agenda. We are looking. Nothing? Would anybody like to address the village board? All right, we'll go ahead and close open forum at 6:01. A couple things on my mayor's report. First, we'll go with the presentation by the McHenry County Conservation Foundation.
Good evening. There is our presentation. Hopefully you can see it across the room. My name is Pamela Altoff, and I am a new member of the McHenry County Conservation Foundation. And we thought it was extraordinarily important to come and visit our colleagues, our taxing body colleagues, and explain to you a little bit of the difference and the importance of the foundation in the Conservation District. But more importantly, I have to start by looking at all of you and telling you that my daughter just recently moved into the village of Kerry. So I have a direct connection. I'm here now all the time. So it's a pleasure to be here, truly. I think, again, we are reminding you of the distinction between the two entities. And again, it's just a reminder. I want to introduce our foundation president, Kevin Ivers, who is here with me this evening. I want to point out that we have, we have our wonderful map, and Kev will show you where Kerry is and how many conservation properties are actually located well within walking, biking, and driving distance of the village of Kerry. I also want to note that we have made a huge effort in the past 2 years to broaden our board. We actually have a wildlife biologist, a former NIPC, which is the Northern Illinois Planning Commission Natural Resources Director. He's also a green infrastructure specialist. We have an IDNR natural resource specialist, 2 former educators, an award-winning salesman, 2 realtors, one who is also a degreed business and financial professional, a banking management professional, a former Conservation District board member with a degree in public administration, and 2 seated county board members as of the November election. And while we're a mixed-use group of only 6 men and 5 women, we all share the same passion, which is preserving and restoring McHenry County's public open space, natural resources, water, and wildlife. And I note that while the Conservation District was actually established in 1971 with a great deal of help from some strange mayor at that time, the foundation itself wasn't created until 1999. It was operated solely by volunteers until 2018, when in collaboration with the district, we were able to hire our very first executive director, finally becoming professional and large enough that we needed somebody to guide us a little bit better. Slide. It's my favorite slide. Kind of a visual to let you know what the difference is between the foundation and the Conservation District. Conservation District is your tomato sandwich. It's really good. It's really nutritious. It's really pretty, but it's a tomato sandwich. Conservation Foundation is all the extras. So, you really have the sandwich that goes out and puts on all kinds of extra stuff and makes it really look pretty. And the reason a foundation exists, we also have one for the community college, is so that we're being extraordinarily responsible with our taxing dollars. A foundation can go for grants and monies that a taxing body absolutely does not have access to. And when we need to have a referendum, when we need to talk to our constituents, the taxing body can't do that, nor can the taxing body provide any financial assistance with getting the information about a referendum out to the public. hence the need for a foundation that can absolutely do that. We are good stewards of your taxing dollars. We try and keep our levies extraordinarily low. In fact, they've been flat for the last 5 years and still provide you those services that you need. We're different than a forest preserve district because part of our mission is to preserve property. So sometimes you don't always have access to that property, but we do really good things. And I'm going to turn it over to Kevin. He, who has been with the foundation substantially longer and associated with the district substantially longer than I, can tell you some of the good things that we do.
Thanks, Pam. Thanks, everyone on the council for our presence here. So yeah, just to recap a bit, I served on the Conservation District Board of Trustees as a public citizen from 2007 to 2012. So that finished up about 10 years ago, and joined the foundation board later in 2013. So a great passion of mine to be involved with and networking throughout the county. So as Pam mentioned, and as you see through the slide before you now, over $4.5 million secured in funding through the foundation for the Conservation District. So benefiting the district's programs, land preservation and protection efforts, and education throughout the county. So a lot of really demonstrable activity that's possible through that funding sources. I want to go to the next slide, please. And just again, a visual interpretation of that map we showed earlier. 25,000 acres preserved and protected in perpetuity for our county citizens and the flora and fauna. 35 sites open to the public, and as you can see, they're geographically spread throughout the county. One of the things as a trustee with the district I tried to do with the family was to visit every site in the county, and it is quite an undertaking to get out there and see all those different sites. So maybe a challenge for you if you have not tried that already. So ease of access, many sites year-round on many of these sites, trails, linear trails connecting communities, of course the specific destination legacy sites that we have as well. So good things there. Go on to the next slide, please. So benefits of open space, many different pieces, of course, the recreation, all the different activities that we have out there, but environmentally as well, the positives in terms of clean air, water, reduction in flooding, and again, the wildlife habitat that also benefits us as well. So many different ways that we're connected there. Next slide. Okay, so this is a very interesting one. If you take a quick peek, monthly visitor days spent per year, spent by year. And what you'll see is increased use of sites, particularly during the COVID pandemic. So that's a piece there. But we've also not seen a decrease in attendance since then. So even though many things are back up and running and open and things, the district has made an impact on people. So the open spaces that are there. And we think that that also has a correlation back to our communities as people go into those sites. They're also spending dollars in those surrounding communities to eat and do further recreation and things. So a lot of positives there. Next slide. In terms of land and habitat restoration, many different pieces to this. Woods is one of them. So a couple of interesting stats that I wanted to jot down. The district did a study, kind of groundbreaking in the Chicago region that's since been replicated and built upon. But in 2005, what they found from 1865 to 2005, there was an 88% reduction in the oak woodlands here in McHenry County, leaving the county with only 18,000 acres. They lost 143,000 acres for various reasons. So a significant decrease. Since 2012, in the last 10 years, there's been an additional reduction of about 268 acres. But in spite of that, the district has helped spearhead, with the foundation's help, 86 acres of new acres planted. So that's going to take time to generate, the age of the oaks. But that said, 25,000 trees have been installed since 2012, in part through the funding with the foundation. Mussel reintroduction at Nippersink Creek, so a really cool thing we don't have enough time to talk about now. Prairie restoration, and also a new bison enclosure in Pleasant Valley and Woodstock. So soon enough, we'll have a public viewscape of bison that are now there and getting acquainted with the land and things. So super exciting right here in our own backyards. Next slide. We talk about environmental education as well. So a lot of positives there. I beg your pardon. Just to go back in terms of the inspiration and teaching the next generation to be environmental advocates and conservationists. Learn how unique we are. The most biodiverse regions in Northeast Illinois of the 100 and I think it's 103 counties are, is it 102? Is Cook, Lake, and McHenry. So think about that. In some sense, the most population-rich area, also the most biodiverse. So we have a lot right here in our backyard that we educate about. And then finally, the next slide, land protection. So a lot of positive things here. Recently, the foundation helped put together a consortium to acquire the former Camp Lakota Boy Scout camp, 120 acres, permanently preserved, as well as matching grant dollars for 21 additional acres at our Coral Woods Conservation Area out by Marengo, and of course Hackmatack. So did you know we are now the home of a national wildlife refuge celebrating 10 years spanning the borders in between McHenry and Walworth County. So very exciting thing. So what are we asking for? Well, we're asking for awareness, a shared message with our constituents of how financially responsible the district is with our tax dollars, and the need to support the foundation, whether through volunteerism, individual, family, coordinated with corporations as well, all acceptable, and with a checkbook, frankly. We provide the extras, the increased tax value and preservation of all these places and the places that we live and work. So I appreciate, again, your time, and just turning it over to Pam for closing.
Just any questions? I will indicate that the state of Illinois has only 5 conservation districts, 5. We by far, McHenry County, is significantly the largest, and we're the only one that is what we call north of I-80. Everything else is south of I-80. So we think it's unique, and we need to protect our biodiversity, and so we just want you to share with your constituents, newsletters, whatever, of how important the district really is. Again, the only county in the Chicagoland area that gets its water from the ground. Everybody else gets it from Lake Michigan. We need to make sure that we're protecting our area. So, thank you. Questions? Go away? Thank you very much for the opportunity just to address you. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll get some of this information out to our residents.
Mayor, can I just ask one question?
Sure.
You know,
Not
when you
you.
travel around a lot, you do see many villages and their entry signs kind of like supporting Rotary, Kiwanis, Lions, all that sort of stuff. I just, throw it out for thought that perhaps maybe when we're looking at entryway signs or some other spots within the community, to be able to put their sign or whatever, just to give them the PR, because I agree with you. It's a cause that if we don't watch out, it's going to be gone. It's much like the water conversations that we've had here. So just kind of throwing it out there for thought, Eric, others on the board to think about, that's all.
Even if it's just home of X amount of conservation properties. I mean, you can be pretty creative about how you do that, but it would be appreciated. Any kind of awareness of the larger overall community as to what we do and how, again, we're extraordinarily responsible with tax dollars. I don't think that people understand how much the foundation actually does. So, thank you. Love the idea.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Next, proclamation regarding National Impaired Driving Prevention Month. Whereas the December holiday season is traditionally one of the most deadly times of the year for impaired driving, and whereas the thousands of families across the state and nation, holidays are a time to remember loved ones lost, and whereas the Village of Kerry is proud to partner with the Illinois Department of Transportation's Division of Traffic Safety and other traffic safety groups in the effort to make our streets safer. Now, therefore, I, Mark Kaunick, Mayor of the Village of Kerry, do hereby proclaim December 2022 to be National Impaired Driving Prevention Month in the Village of Kerry, dated the 6th day of December 2022. One other thing I'd like to throw in is that we just had an unbelievable Mary Carey parade on Sunday. It was just a beautiful day, cool, crisp day, really sunny, an unbelievable turnout. And I have got to give a shout out to Eric and your team for putting together what I thought was really one of the coolest, for the lack of another word, floats that are out there. although we got snubbed in awards, but, did I say that out loud? It doesn't, it's noted. It was a blast. Even Trustee Dudek, when he was there, because he was unable to be with us last year during it, he was super impressed at the whole presentation, if I do say so. But it was fun. It was a great crowd. Thank you to the trustees and staff that was able to participate. We had a good time. I didn't see our attorney and his wife there. They were there last year. We got snubbed, but that's okay.
We
But,
soured him last year.
He's like,
The
I'm not
the
doing-
weather.
The weather,
Not
but
good weather last
the
year.
weather was much better this year. But a big shout out to everybody that's involved. It was a great event, and our community really loves this. I mean, you talk to anybody around our area, they really love this event in our town. So thank you to Eric and your team, Pat and your team. I guess I should say Chief Finland and Director Morimoto. Thank you very much for your team's effort. You know, one thing that that's has to be noted in the society that we live in right now, with police under fire. I am impressed upon what happened with other communities in the past and the preventative measures that we have to take now to protect our citizens. You know, with blocking off all the streets, with public works vehicles, acquiring additional barriers so that people can't penetrate our parade. Our job, first and foremost, is to protect our community, and you guys did an outstanding job without incident, so thank you very much. Appreciate it. Next up on the agenda is the trustee reports. Anybody?
I just have one thing. I just want to do a nice shout out to a local business. Modern Wave in Kerry just celebrated their 30-year anniversary. I think that that's something that's to be very commended, and they had a great celebration over the weekend that I was able to participate in. So Dana Tursky and her staff, well done.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items A through L as shown on the village's website and is displayed on the video monitor during the village board meeting.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please, Courtney.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Weinhammer,
Yes.
Cavelli,
Yes.
Dudek,
Yes.
Collier,
Yes.
Walrath,
Yes.
Thank you. Items for separate action, I have two this evening. First, I will entertain a motion to approve a public hearing regarding annual real estate tax levy for the tax year of 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Jake, you gonna take this? Okay. Is there anybody here that would like to address the board regarding our annual tax levy? We opened it and closed it at 6:18.
There's someone, I think, that has their hand up.
Did you want to come up and address the board? You're welcome to. No, please come up to the podium and state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, Barbara Berthold. I live at 1209 West Danbury Drive. And I just, I keep reading McHenry County has the highest taxes in the state, or up there in the top 5, I don't know. So I don't understand why, is this just a trend of let's get on board with raising everybody's everything? So I don't understand why you would need to do that.
Oh, if I could be so bold as to say, have you had this conversation with the other taxing bodies as well?
What other taxing bodies?
We are only responsible for the municipal portion of your
Yeah, I
taxing,
know.
but the last 2 lines on your tax item.
Well,
We
that's
are
what-
very good stewards with the dollars that are allocated through our property taxes. We have, for the most part, for the last 10, 12 years, our property taxes have been relatively flat. We have not raised them, with the exception of once for the CPI, but we have taken the new growth, which it's not a tax increase. We're letting the county know that we have new buildings in town and we're going to capture that. We are in.
New commercial buildings, you mean?
Pardon me?
You mean new commercial buildings?
Yes, everybody gets taxed at
Yeah,
that too.
good.
So with the rising costs, everything, we are in an unbelievable state. We don't make these decisions very lightly. We go back and forth. We have very healthy conversations, and the board is divided at sometimes about whether we do this. But unfortunately, taxation is a terrible word, but to that extent, taxation is how government works. Good, effective government takes the tax dollars that we're given by our constituents to put to good use. We have obligations with our personnel, with our Public Works Department that maintains our streets. You know, we have 78 miles of road that we have to make sure that they're resurfaced. We have our Public Works is in charge of all of our infrastructure, our water mains. All these things break. We have to keep up with this. In addition to that, you know, we have a police department. I was talking about our public
A
safety.
very large police department.
Well, I would respectively disagree with you. We do not. I mean, we are probably short, probably about 4 officers that we should have. You know, we provide 24-hour, 365-day security for our residents. And I think we do that at a very good rate. And I think that we look at these things and we have union obligations. These are things.
Why don't they enforce things then? Like-
That would be
Well,
a
I mean,
different discussion.
Well, okay.
That I would love to sit down with you. We can have Chief Finland sit down and talk about enforcement.
4th of July, before that, we could talk.
What about
But-
fireworks and things?
They're going off all the time, even Thanksgiving now, I'm hearing them.
Well, I
So you
understand, but
know
that's
aware
a
of it.
different conversation.
Yeah, I'm
Enforcement and
just
stuff. I would love to sit down and talk with you. We can bring Chief Finland in and one of the deputies that would handle that, and we could set the record straight and
Ignoring
think
that.
about what you want, what you're talking about.
I'd rather talk about the aesthetics.
The aesthetics of the community. Well, that's another
I
conversation too.
know, but that's
that
what
goes.
really is bugging me.
Well, the aesthetics. That's again depending upon what you're thinking and where you are. That
All
would
of
be a
it.
great conversation to have.
Okay.
Just, I'll give you a little bit of a trinket what's coming up. The village board has approved that's going to start construction this next year of renovating our downtown, the streetscape. All the streets are going to be changed, the sidewalks, seating. We're going to have more public areas. You know,
For what?
again, pardon me?
For what?
For our community, for our thriving downtown.
Yeah, thriving. Okay.
Is there anything else that I can help you with?
No, so basically it's mostly going to personnel, like the police?
Our largest
addition?
cost, well, not just the police department, our public works and our administrative staff.
Is the largest.
Well, we're going to get to that.
Well,
But-
it's just, it's just to look at the taxes that, and we put this big white elephant over here that was supposed to, offset some of that, and they still haven't finished the job. They don't have the personnel, they didn't hire the personnel that they promised. I mean,
What you the white elf?
Stryker,
Oh, Stryker? They're adding on this next year.
yeah, I figured, I saw them out there, but.
They're our largest employer, ma'am, and we rely on them to keep bringing new employees into town that will
That's why-
utilize our
well,
services.
That's why you shouldn't have to raise taxes, right? That's why you have that's why we suffer through them.
Well, thank you very much for your comments. Is there anybody else who would like to address the board about their tax levy?
David Miller, 65 Highway 14. Are you just doing new growth or are you raising your levy too?
Or levy to the CPI?
Are ya? Okay. I just think our new growth is going to be pretty good. Should be a cover levy, I think, wouldn't it, with all the new growth going on in town?
Within this last year, it hasn't been as great as it was before. The next year, it should be substantially more.
Yeah, because I know they're going to be reassessing all the property values too, which should increase the revenue coming in.
Yeah, she just switched this up to our new growth and plus the additional 142,913 for the CPI. And again, just so the taxpayers are aware of this, that amount of money is never recoverable. If we don't capture that now,
Right. No,
we will
new
never
growth
get it
is what
again.
I think you should be going
The new
for,
growth is about
raising the
13,
levy.
Yeah, the new growth is
$13,000
$13,000.
roughly.
What does that include? What do you consider the new growth? The
New homes, new, whatever.
Yeah, a lot of it was residential, I believe.
We
All
had
the new-
substantial, yeah.
the-
Like over at Westlake,
right.
Lions Ridge,
the
Walnut
old
Creek.
senior center can be
the
including
se-
that yet
I
already
think
too?
the senior center, we've already been through that already.
No?
That's not hitting yet. Village
Which
still owns
senior
it.
center are you talking
The
about?
new one that's sold, he just sold, it's become,
Oh, no, that won't hit
yeah,
for
'cause that's
probably.
be added into
yeah.
the coffers too, and
Right.
the other properties you sold over of Kerry, Algonquin, Blacktop,
Right.
and.
Well, again, like I
You
said.
got a lot of new growth for the village owned, that's gonna be new tax dollars coming in, that I just wish
Right.
the levy would stay the same, that's all.
I agree. I wish I could too, but we have an operation to run. We
Oh,
have,
yeah. Oh, I
our
know.
residents have very high expectations, as was just noted here. A streetscape and all that stuff. the aesthetics, that takes almost like a second seat to all these other costs because we don't have the money to do this. You know, we look at this, we don't look for increased taxes every single year.
I know.
For
Well,
the
you
last
kept
10
you
years,
kept
it's
the levy
remained
flat
flat.
very well. Doing good.
And we do
I'm
the
just
best that
looking
we
at new growth
can.
coming in that and with the reassessment, the assessor says they're gonna do for all the properties next year, it's gonna raise our taxes there already, which would give more to the coffers also. Just one, and like I said, your minute thing, schools drive me crazy. So it's not just, you know, and I've talked to all of them. I don't just come to this board
Right.
meeting, so.
Well, I understand, and we that's why we look at this every single year. We don't blanket say we're going to do this for a year, because
And a lot
next
of
year
years
we
you
may,
do new captures, or, you know,
Correct.
new growth, so I'm glad you're doing that now. So
next
this-
year we
and
could
that
have some
helps.
substantial new growth that doesn't affect everybody else's tax bill.
Just, have you talked to the assessor about what his predictions are for new growth, for higher
have not.
revenues? You know,
I have
'cause reassessing all our properties at the new values is gonna hurt a lot also.
Well, you know, it's not only that, it's, you know, property taxes is just a little portion of our tax bill. I mean, of our expenditures, I should say. It's our
Right.
revenue source. You know, when you look at these things, bringing additional businesses online, you know, new properties and all that stuff goes into it, but new retail sales generating operations like the Thorntons, like the future dispensary. You know, we look at these things that are going to bring these things in, the new restaurants and all these different things that bring people to our
Sales tax,
community
right.
that will
Which-
spend money in their community that
Right.
we will benefit from.
Yep. And we try with our bit too. We get quite a few customers like Julian that go to other shopping in town and stuff, so.
Right.
I appreciate the village, I really do, but I hate taxes.
So, you know, I would,
As you all do too, you know.
I would
just-
guarantee
I just
that
look
everybody
I just think
sitting
about
at this
new growth that's
dais
coming in, that I don't know if
agrees.
we need to raise the levy any higher, that's all. That's my only concern.
I
But do what
appreciate
you
your
gotta do.
comments.
Thank you.
Did you want to,
I just wanted to
did you come up to, yes, you
Yeah.
do.
I just wanted to ask, obviously, again, being very engaged formerly in the state, how did the unfunded mandates that came down from the state level, specifically with police, body cams, law enforcement, how did that affect your decision with regard to increasing?
It's funny you mentioned that. I didn't want to get into that much of a detail, but, you know, the state mandates a lot of things at the Village of Kerry. For instance, body-worn body cameras that we have to have by 2024. And that's an initial expenditure of, Chief Finland, help me out here?
We're estimating somewhere near $300,000.
Correct. Out of money that we already have, that we don't get money from the state to do this. In addition to that, for just the equipment, we have to hire people to monitor it and run the equipment. And then we got to pay for the storage, because we can't dump all this information. It's all got to be stored. So moving forward, that's going to be something that is going to be on our plate forever. We're always going to have to do this. And there's, in addition to the equipment that we have to use, there's going to be continual updates for that. It will become obsolete, and we're going to have to continuously upgrade of our equipment. So we're painfully aware of these things. So thank you very much, Mrs. Alta, for bringing that up. But you know, these are things that we work on all the time, that we have to really make sure that we're spending the money wisely. And there's only so much money that we have. Is there anybody else who would like to address the village board? Okay, now we'll close it at 6:29. I will entertain a motion to approve an ordinance authorizing the addition of the CPI and new growth of $142,913, resulting in an annual real estate tax levy for the tax year 2022 in the amount of $2,734,542.
So moved.
Second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Dudek,
Yes.
Walrath,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Collier,
Yes.
Weinhammer,
No.
Cavelli,
No.
Thank you. Now moving to administrator's report.
Mayor, nothing this evening.
Department heads, Chief Finland?
Yeah, I just wanted to make you aware of this photograph that's up. Is we had Shop with a Cop this last Sunday. From the Village of Kerry, we had 8 families, 13 children. What you see there is Officer Dutton with two of the participants. It was a very early day for them. Woke them up at 6 o'clock in the morning, went to Walmart. They were able to pick out what, their presents or what they wanted. Plus, Walmart was good enough to donate hats, gloves, coats, boots for every participant. And then they went, and this is a photograph that was taken at the breakfast that was conducted afterward. So that was at Glacier School in Crystal Lake. But just to kind of give you an idea of the participation we had within the department, that's Officer Dutton, Officer Haglin, Officer Hollub, Officer Lacrone, Officer Lorenz, Deputy Chief Nadenoff, Deputy Chief Winkleman, and myself volunteered to participate in this event. Again, thanks to the McHenry County Police Charities for funding this, and I know that the Rotary Club of Kerry Grove made a contribution to this effort through both club match and contributions from their membership in over $1,000. So, very good event, and it seemed like everyone had a good time.
It's an awesome picture.
Thank you, Chief. Director Morimoto? Director Simmons? Nothing? Any future agenda items and discussion by the village board? None said. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned at 6:31. We'll ramp up in just a minute for committee.